Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Good morning. This is Mike Stoller for the Stoller Real Estate Report. What's happening in the rental and the condo and the co-op business in New York City? Who's better to answer that is that two young guys who are in the real estate business when they joined together at the age of 23, which was 13 years ago, are my guests today. Lou Adler, the co-founder and co-CEO of Real New York, and his partner, Robert Rahmanian, who is the co-founder and CEO of Real New York also. Thanks for being here.
It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
So how does 2026 look to you with regard to the business that you're in?
2026 should be a very interesting year. We're coming out of one that introduced the FAIR Act, which...
Would you explain to my audience what the FAIR Act is?
Sure. There was some regulation passed in June. The council member in Brooklyn passed it, where basically the broker fee, which was an option to be paid by either the incoming tenant or the landlord, that no longer exists, and now the new law only allows for the landlord to pay our broker fee. So that's been a big transition, and we've seen rents rise tremendously since then. That was back in June of 2025, and we're going into our first year where the FAIR Act is a big part of our business.
Speaking of that, what are the rents today? Lou?
Yeah, we're seeing higher highs right now. We're seeing a market where we see a 3 to 4% rental increase year over year. So we're expecting 2026 to only feel that pain for tenants, unfortunately, even more. The FAIR Act, which Rob was presenting, really backfired. Unfortunately, the city is its own worst enemy. And the FAIR Act just took a broker fee that the tenant was paying, increased rents by that amount so that they're paying a broker fee every year instead of an initial broker fee to get into the unit. One caveat on that FAIR Act, just to note, tenants can still pay broker fees if the unit isn't advertised.
With regard to advertising, where do you see the most effective advertising?
Street Easy, Zillow, building signage, apartments.com, those are, really our best venues for advertising and getting rental leads across New York City. Thankfully, Real New York does over 4,000 rental transactions a year. We have well over 10,000 exclusive apartments. So we also have a lot of repeat clientele, a lot of clientele that are not renewing in one property and want to stay within the Real New York ecosystem.
What about the repositioning of properties? I know you've been working on a couple of deals like that.
Yeah, that's how we started in the business. I mean, we started in the Lower East Side back in 2012, 2011. A lot of these buildings being purchased and repositioned, from the rent-stabilized stock to, free market. The laws have changed there, and now we're working on a lot of repositioning when it comes to office to residential. That's been a big topic of conversation over the last 2 years, and since 467M has been introduced. And we're having a lot of fun with that. That's a really interesting conversation right now.
Yeah, we're also converting a hospital to residential. That's at 313 East 17th Street. That should be going live soon. That's a very special 87-unit luxury rental building. And we're working with a couple of developers to consider hospital to residential conversions. So what we're seeing in this marketplace is that with the lack of development sites and with development costs being so high, a lot of the developers that were once focused on the boroughs, not as much Manhattan, are moving into Manhattan saying, hey, there's a quick execution within these conversion plays. I don't have to worry about the hole in the ground. We can get in this site and to the market within 18 to 24 months. And they're taking advantage of that and really working on these conversion plays.
What's the situation with the 99 units?
That's going to go down in history. So that's part of the 485X. And within the 45X affordable component, to get the tax incentive, the only way to not engage a union is to have a 99 unit or less building. So what a lot of developers are doing is they're doing side-by-side 99 unit buildings to stay under that threshold. And 100 years from now, people are going to look around and say, why did we do this? Why did we create a situation where we're actually lessening the free market and affordable product?
Yep, that's another one of those regulations that just is going to backfire, as Lou mentioned. We're seeing developers build less units, bring less housing stock to market because of it.
Question with regard to, you're working on a project on 6th Avenue, 87-floor development. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure, yeah. Very excited about this project, 989 6th Avenue, right on the southwest corner of 37th Street and 6th Avenue. It's going to be 284 rentals. There'll be an affordable component to it as well, and 27 condos from floors 57 and up, 5 floors of amenity space. And these are, this is a location, we're calling it Bryant Park, Midtown, that hasn't seen a development like this. It's very centrally located, as I mentioned, but the finishes, the facade, the thought that's come through the lobby all the way to the top is state of the art.
Okay, with regard to the other property that you're working on 42nd Street, tell me a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's not too far from where we are right now. It's a building that used to be leased out to a lot of embassy tenants. It's near the UN on 42nd Street, and the floors 6 through 18 are being converted into apartments now. It's a deep floor plate, so you have some units that are about 60 feet long. And as we would call the bowling alleys. Exactly. And now with these bowling alleys, we're getting creative in terms of how to utilize the space as best as possible. So what we're seeing, and you're seeing in many other conversion projects right now, is what they call a Studio Plus or a Studio Plus Plus. Because of the lack of legal light and air, you can't call it a one-bedroom, and you have a long bowling alley unit with an interior bedroom, and we're seeing a lot of that now. Great value. With regard to rents, what are rents today for market rate apartments throughout the city? So rents are high. Give me an idea of what the rents are.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at a new development downtown south of 23rd Street, brand new, you're looking at an average price per square foot at $120 to $135 a foot. If it really depends on the asset type, but the luxury market right now and new developments, I would say that's on the rental you're talking. That's on the rental. And to translate that into monthly rent, right, we're looking at studios in the mid to high fours, one bedrooms climbing close to $775, and 2 bedrooms $9,000 plus. What about conversions in Midtown? What are the apartments going to rent for? So they're going to come at a little bit of a discount. You said the conversions, right? Right. Yeah, they're going to come at a little bit of a discount. They're not as efficient when it comes to these new developments, right? So that rent per foot, you can shave off $10, $15 there. You're getting more space. You're getting a bit more value, but it's a conversion. Where are the opportunities for an individual to rent an apartment reasonably priced, if there is any individually placed? Yeah, I think the highest value in a luxury product is going to be either Financial District or Midtown. When it comes to prime Manhattan, what you're seeing with these conversions from the Pfizer building coming up and coming, you're going to have something closer to a 90 to 100 per square foot. So, I mean, if you're looking at a brand new construction property, that number, like we said, balloons to over 120. So those are the value plays right now. FIDI, Midtown. If you're willing to get out of Manhattan, we're seeing value still in Clinton Hill, Bed-Stuy, up-and-coming neighborhoods where there's still an allure, but still not as much demand.
What about Williamsburg?
No, don't look for value there. The rents in Williamsburg are almost identical to the city now. The new developments there are getting 120 a foot plus.
What about Harlem?
Harlem, it's funny. Harlem, we have a lot of properties we represent in Harlem, and after COVID, we saw a huge surge into Harlem when everyone moved back into the city, and the rents were just skyrocketing. I think because of the oversupply in Southern Bronx, the oversupply in Mott Haven, it really dropped those rents where we were achieving upwards of 80 a foot. Now it's closer to 60 for new development housing.
What about Mott Haven?
Mott Haven, there's a lot of developers that were bullish on it. Rob and I, it has never been a main focus of ours, Mott Haven or the Bronx. We have some properties here and there. But there was just an extreme oversupply. They brought some really high-end product to the neighborhood, product that, in Williamsburg, Brooklyn would get 120 a foot. They're trying to get 30, 40 a foot. Rob and I are very happy that that's not where the prime inventory of real New York's is.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting when you look at Mott Haven or you look at a market like New Rochelle where they've brought in a ton of luxury product. And what's happened is the rents have come down and they've softened. And so should we see more housing in Manhattan or areas in Brooklyn, I think we'll have a similar effect, but that's not happening, right?
So what's your thoughts about 2026 with regard to the rental market?
It's a great question. I think as owners, you look at your rent roll and you can't, it's hard to imagine pushing rents more than 5% in the coming year. And I think there's a tale of two cities. You have your existing product that you have to continue to reinvest in and compete with some of these conversion projects that are coming. And I think those rents and that market is going to see a 3 to 5% increase as we've seen in the last couple of years. Inventory is still short. Demand is very, very high. And then you have the new developments, the luxury new developments that continue to see new highs and continue to get great demand. And we're optimistic. I mean, it's every building and every year we get into it, we wonder if the rents are going to go up. This is our 14th year, and we're seeing nothing but green shoots for the rental market.
Yeah, Rob and I thankfully timed the market pretty well since the inception of Real New York. One thing we were also seeing, too, is because of rates is one side of it, but also the current administration, people are a little hesitant to buy right now. It's keeping them in the rental cycle. So I think for that reason alone, we're going to see the rental market continue to creep up. So I would be surprised to not get 3 to 5% increases across the board.
I think 2026 will be a good year for the two of you, and I'd like to thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Thank you.
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.